It's time now for the Success is Subjective podcast. Here is your host and therapeutic consultant for young adults only, Joanna Lilley.
Hi, and welcome to the show. Today, my guest is Dr. Cameron Caswell. Dr. Cam, aka the teen translator, gets it. As an adolescent psychologist and parent of a teen, she knows the struggles of navigating those tough years firsthand. As a private practitioner, TedX speaker, podcast host, and author, she offers hope and practical strategies to help parents unlock their teens' confidence and resilience, build deeper, stronger connections with them, and foster a positive home environment. Listen to her podcast titled Parenting Teens with Dr. Cam and follow her on Instagram at Dr. Cam Caswell for actionable advice. Okay, let's get to my interview now with Dr. Cam on today's edition of Success is Subjective. Dr. Cam, I am glowing, right? I almost have like the permagrin on my face because I'm just so excited and eager for this interview. I'm just so grateful that you took the time to be a guest on my podcast, and I'm really excited to talk about your story.
I am too. This is
Yay!
so fun.
This is fun. Okay, so let's just jump in because I know some of my guests probably do listen to your podcast as well, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But give us a little bit of backstory. Where did you grow up, and what was the messaging that you were hearing kind of about what you were supposed to do after high school?
This is good. I was actually a Penn Stater, I was a local, grew up in the town. And so college it wasn't even a decision. It just was, right? It's like 13th grade. But I will tell you, I wanted very much to go into psychology, and everyone kept telling me, don't do it. You can't do anything without a doctorate. And at that point, I was like, oh my God, that much more school? No way. So I was like, oh, well, I love television. So I'm going to go into TV. Me and all the football players are going to do that. And did that and moved out to California and kind of did that for a while, not big, but smaller, but kind of did stuff like that and lived my best life there, and then decided I don't want to give up my soul and moved back east. So that's kind of that part of it. And through lots of twists and turns, I ended up going back and getting my PhD in psychology because, your heart wants what it wants. And I tell kids now, listen to what your heart wants, not what people tell you.
Oh my gosh. I mean, we could end the interview right now with that advice, truly.
Right?
I mean, why is it that we do that? We just feel the societal pressure or the external voices telling us, don't do that, you're not going to make money, or don't do that, insert a justification or reason for why you should not be listening to your heart.
And I will tell you, the biggest things that I have done and the scariest things I have done are the things that people have told me don't do. And they have been the best decisions I have ever made. And that included, moving to California with no money. And I adopted my daughter on my own and did that all on my own and went back and got my PhD at a later age, and just things that people are like, are you crazy? And I'm like, those are the best moments of my entire life.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so fill us in on some of those key points that you just highlighted. So how long were you working in the television industry, and at what point did you make it back to the East Coast, and what were you doing before launching into what you're doing now? I mean, that's a lot.
It is a whirlwind of a thing. Well, so I went to LA to do TV. Did I ever actually get into real TV? No. I worked for a small production company for a while and then kind of did other things that felt safer. And I was just there for 5 years, which was enough. And then things were happening back home, and I felt like, okay, now I'm going back to the East Coast. So I did that and did a lot of desk jobs and things that I absolutely did not enjoy doing, and couldn't get myself out of kind of that path of just being a supportive role. It was so frustrating to me. And it was like, everyone was like, you're the best at this. Well, why can't I move on? So I went out and got my PhD and said, I'm going to do something on my own that I love, and I'm geeky that way and loved doing that. And so I was working full time, getting my PhD, a research assistant, a teaching assistant, taught my own class, and ended up starting the adoption process with my daughter all at the same time. And yet, because I wasn't married, I was the one that had the most time and would be given the other additional tasks of, right, of things like, oh, well, you're not married, so you got free time. And I'm like, yeah, okay,
Oh my goodness.
right. It's kind of that. It's an interesting perspective that when you are a single mom, that doesn't seem to count as a family that you're taking care of
Right.
sometimes.
Oh my goodness. Well, and I'm just thinking too, not that I have ever worked towards my PhD, but I can only imagine the amount of work. I mean, that's a full-time job in itself, and you're a research assistant and a TA. When did you sleep? Did you sleep? I don't know.
No, not a whole I don't know how I did it. I mean, looking back, it took me a while too. My family teases me because it took me about 10 years to do it. And every time they tease me, I just go, and when did you get yours? Because none of them have theirs. Said, you tease me when you're done with it, right? So it took a while to get it all done, but I don't know. I couldn't do it now. I really couldn't. It just exhausts me thinking about it.
But you made it through.
I did. I made it through and I did it. I was determined.
You were totally determined. I think that was like you even started the conversation by saying this, like, I should have followed my heart all along.
Yep.
And it took you a while to get there, but once you actually like started pursuing that path, even though obviously from the outside I'm looking in and saying, how the heck did you do that? You were driven, right? You were motivated.
I think that's the big thing. And what I've noticed with all the hard things that I've done is once I make that decision, I don't doubt it anymore. It's like the decision is made and now I just do what it takes to make that happen. I mean, it was the same with adopting my daughter. That is a tedious. I think my PhD prepared me for the adoption process, which is a lot of paperwork and a lot of time and it's a lot of work. But that was another thing where I was like, I could quit any moment because of how hard it is, but that wasn't an option.
Mm,
It just didn't even cross my mind to quit.
yeah. Okay. So tell us, what is it exactly that you're doing now, or all of the things that you're doing now? Because the one thing that for those folks that are just listening in on this as a podcast and not actually tuning into the video, I can just see like it is lit up on your face that you are really happy to do what you do. So
Yeah.
tell the audience, what is it that you're actually doing?
Well, now I am an adolescent psychologist and a parent coach. And so I started my own business a few years ago, talk about terrifying and big leaps, right? And people saying, "Are you crazy?" But I had done desk jobs for years and it was so frustrating for multiple reasons. One, wasn't getting any sense of accomplishment out of what I was doing because I was just working for other people to do their things and getting a paycheck. The other frustrating thing, and I got to say, as a woman, the business world is not kind to women. It is a very difficult road to go in. You either accept your lot in life or you push against it and you take the consequences of pushing against it. That's what I did. I took the consequences of pushing against it, used the money that I got when they laid me off because they were going in a different direction, along with all the other women they laid off that had been vocal about the inequities, and used that to start up my own business. So thank you very much. And I remember my daughter coming, who's 18 now, but she came to me and she goes, "Mom, it is so great to have you back." And that's when I was still in the stressful, am I ever going to make money doing this? What am I doing mode? And I still was so much happier at that point because I was doing what I wanted to do and what I loved and what I had been for some reason called to do. Like it kept coming back to that over and over again. And I love it.
Wow. I'm just like, I'm almost having an emotional reaction to that, even just from like an empathic place, but also as another female who really kind of went through it as an entrepreneur at some point, like really questioning, did I make a mistake? And like you said, the world is not kind to women trying to swim upstream or go against the grain, carve a path that maybe does or doesn't exist or isn't supposed to exist at the time and place in our life where we are. And so I'm just having my own response to you talking about that because it just resonates with me so much.
I will say the thing that keeps me going now when it gets really difficult, because I don't think there's a day that has gone by that I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? Like, this is hard and this is scary. But I look at my daughter and I go, she is watching me follow my dreams and do hard stuff to get it. And that is all I want to teach my daughter, is that she can do that too. And that anything, and she notices it and she sees it. And that's what keeps me going on the days that I'm like, I don't know, because I want her to know she can.
Yeah. That's a hell of a motivator.
It is a big motivator.
I think the other thing that I just want to ask you, so you kind of talked about it right out of the gate. Like I wish that I had listened to my younger self, right? Like I wish I had followed my path. Is there any other advice you would give to yourself as a younger person other than following your heart kind of towards whatever academic major you were pursuing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing and the thing that I kind of follow with now is you have no idea where life's going to take you. You just can't. You can't plan, you can't figure it out. You have no idea. And even if you did, still don't know if that's going to be the path that is the best one for you. So I think making the best of what life is throwing at you is my best advice, because you can have your best life no matter what's going on if you choose to. And I think that is the biggest thing, because life's going to be hard. Life is going to suck at times. Life is going to throw you some really big curveballs, and you can either let it just push you to the ground, or you can say, okay, wow, this isn't where I expected to be, but what is this? What can I make of this? What great stuff can I do here? And that's really where I keep every day. That's where I keep going. I'm like, okay, this is my life. How do I make it the best life ever?
Oh, such great advice. Okay, so having heard that you are finally at a place where you are a adolescent psychologist, you've also you've got a series of accolades, written books, you're a parent coach, you're also a podcaster, right? Podcast host, which we'll make sure we have all of the links for all of the things in the show notes. But knowing all of that, right? Where you started, like you said, growing up in a large college town, it was just the path. There was no conversation about, when or if you're going to school. And then obviously feeling those external pressures for what path you're supposed to pursue. Do you see yourself as successful now?
Oh, that's such a hard question to ask. I think you always have this gauge of moving up. Like where I am right now, if I had known this 5 years ago, I wouldn't have been as stressed. Let's just say that. Like I am still doing what I love. I'm still building what I love. Do I still have dreams of where I can take it? Absolutely. Will I always have dreams of where I can take it? Probably. So success is a very intangible thing. I think there's always growth, right? So am I more successful than I was? Yes. Am I nearly as successful as I want to be? No. Right? So I'm just, you keep clamoring and showing up and doing it that way. So I think that's really, and I think if you stop doing that, then you stop really enjoying what life is about, which is about the journey, not
Totally.
where you're going, but how you're getting there.
Yep. It's all about the journey.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier too, it's about embracing like the day-to-day journey and then making it what it needs to be for you. And then if that means life's throwing you some curveballs,
it'll throw you a lot.
Exactly. Decide, am I bending or am I swaying? Like, am I trying to catch the ball? Like, what does this look like?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like we also talked about this, but I'm still going to ask you because I feel like you're going to elaborate on it. We specifically tapped into females, right? Like the idea of success as a female. So what stereotypes surrounding success do you feel like you've had to overcome? Maybe elaborate on some aspect to that we haven't already touched on.
I think the biggest thing, and I was just talking about Harrison Butler is right now, whenever this comes out, I don't know, but right now we're in the heat of the viral Harrison Butler saying we all should stay in our lane, and that majority of us women, he believes, prefer to be in the lane of being a homemaker, right? And so the fact that a 28-year-old still has this vision of what women are and what our value is based in scares me a lot for my daughter, who I'm trying to say there are no boundaries for us, but there's a lot of barriers. There is a lot of barriers because I think the first thing, and one of the things I really noticed when I was in the corporate world, is the definition of what a successful person looks like and a leader. The definition of a leader and the characteristics of a leader are the definition of a strong man. It is this one and the same. And when a woman takes on any of those characteristics which define a leader, we are seen as a bitch, as a pain in the butt, as obnoxious, as talking too much, as being too opinionated. I've been called not a shrinking violet, which I was like, I know that was meant as a compliment, but I don't feel like you would ever say that to a man, particularly a man in their 50s, that they had an opinion, right? So I think this is still something we're going against. Women who are really strong leaders lead often from a different place. We lead from a place of empathy often, and we have compassion and we have feelings that we tap into, and those are seen as weakness. And so when we lead from our own strengths, it is not respected the same way. And it's a conundrum because you're a leader, but you're not liked often, or you're liked and you have no possible ability to be respected in the way you need to be respected to be a leader. And so it's spinning circles. It is spinning absolute circles. And I think what's hard is the more we make change and the more we push against this, and I see this with, like, it's a similar thing with Black Matters. Like, people that were like, well, white people matters too. And I'm like, you're missing the whole freaking point when you say that. Like, nobody has ever said that white lives don't matter. We have said in multiple ways, in the ways that we treat people of color, that their lives don't matter. I think it's similar to females. Females' lives and who we are and what we believe and what we bring to the table and our values matter. But we have to, like, yell it from the rooftops to be heard, and then we're called shrill. So we have a long way to go, my friend. We have a long way to go.
Oh, it's so painful. And all I'm thinking about too as you're talking is that really since the 1970s, I'm going to go there right now because this is my soapbox. Since the 1970s, we pushed in the education field for women to leave home and get educated. Like the 1970s, that was a very long time ago. And now the pendulum has swung. The majority of people that show up on college campuses to get degrees are women.
Yep.
The majority of people in the workforce, specifically those with college educations, are women. So when we're talking about who's in the leadership role, it's actually the minority, right? If it's a man specifically, or if we're identifying that person who's in a leadership role is a male identifying person, they're actually overseeing typically a lot more women. And we're also, and we're in such a lack of self-awareness, sensitivity. Like you said, that comment that they made, that's kind of insensitive. I don't think you would have said that to a man. We're at a crossroads.
If we say something about it, and just the way that we're treated, if we say something about it, that often gets thrown back in our face of why we're not invited to the table, because we can't hack it. at the
Yeah.
table because we change the dynamic of the table. We have to live in a man's world and adjust to men. And God forbid we ask them to change for us. It's not even an option. That's not even an option. So I think it's really tough. And I'm saying this not as a man hater by any means, not as, I just think that it is very difficult to understand what it is like to be in that position when you've never been in that position. I just I don't think you can even relate. And I think it's really important to at least accept that you don't understand. I remember joining a equity, diversity, inclusion group. It was almost all white men. I'm like, how is this an inclusion group? Like, they're telling us how we should make women and people of color feel comfortable here. Like, I don't understand. So it's a difficult. I think we need to just say, I get it. We don't get it.
Yeah. Holy cow. Okay, there's a lot to just like wrestle with from that conversation. I actually want to ask you a really specific question, and this is kind of like almost wrapping up the end of this podcast. Again, I'm going to have all the links so parents can reach out to you in the show notes, as that's the majority of the audience that listens to my podcast as well. As an adolescent psychologist, what advice would you give to a parent of a young man right now? I feel like that's so specific, but it's also really like, yeah, I mean, coming on the heels of the topic we just talked about, what advice would you give to a parent of a young adolescent or young adult, young man right now?
Yeah, I think this is so important because there's so much focus put on the women to fix how men treat them, and not enough focusing on how we raise men to treat women. And I think it's really important that as a parent or as a mom, or both as a parent of a son, is to model what it looks like to have a healthy, respectful relationship with one another, to model a relationship and have a relationship with your son if you're the mom, so that you're really helping them know what that looks like, and gaining that respect, so that we are raising sons that are respectful and understand women. I think and that are unable to touch with their emotions. I think this is a really other thing that's very confusing, is that masculinity is seen as not having any emotions. And I see a lot of men struggling with mental health because they do not know how to express their emotions in an effective way.
Extremely valuable and specific advice. Obviously, again, like I said, I was kind of, can you focus in, right? Like hone in on one particular parent population.
Yeah.
But I think what you just imparted from your personal and professional lens is extremely valuable for the parents that are listening. We need better young men, more emotionally intelligent and in tuned young men, and people that are just a little bit more curious rather than judgmental, especially coming on the heels of what is publicly out right now, which just feels like a complete juxtaposition of 2024.
It does. And I have to say, like, talking to so many younger kids in the generation actually brings me a lot of hope, because I feel like there's a lot more acceptance in general of the next generation. So hearing someone 28 years old say things that are still so antiquated, it's so disappointing. Just disappointed me.
It's one of those things, honestly, that feels like we collectively have this groupthink of like, we are moving forward, right? There has to be progression and growth. And then you have this one pretty prominent announcement that just feels like, well, no, we're 30 years in the past in terms of equity and equality.
I mean, just a lot. And I'm not going to get into the whole politics of it, but just a lot of the things that have happened recently have really just ripped the rug out from under women. I can say that.
Yeah. Well, I feel like we could probably have an entirely separate conversation where we just like are riffing on what it means to be a woman and the pains and stuff that we're hearing in the news. But We'll save that for another maybe
Yeah.
soapbox conversation.
I think the point is we don't have to let those things define us, and we can still do it, but we do it against the tide, which I think makes us just that much stronger.
Totally. Dr. Cam, thank you again for being a guest on the Success is Subjective podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
That's it for this week's Success is Subjective episode. We want to thank our guest for joining Joanna on the show this week and for being willing to share your journey. This podcast would not exist if it weren't for people such as yourself. Stay tuned for our next episode, where you can bet it'll be another amazing human sharing their personal story with the world. Make sure you check out the show notes, where you will find contact information, website details, and all social media for our guest. Put a face with a voice by accessing their interview on the newly formed successissubjective.org website. If you are interested in being a guest on the podcast, you can email Joanna at joanna@successissubjective.org. Be sure to check out the collegealternative.org and lilyconsulting.com websites for additional resources outside of podcasting. If you are listening to the show on Apple Podcasts, please subscribe to the show. And while you're at it, feel free to leave a review. You can also download to listen to the Success is Subjective podcast on other popular podcast apps, such as Audible, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, and TuneIn Radio. Last but not least, Success is Subjective is listener-supported, made possible by our team and by you. You can support this podcast by joining the Patreon community at patreon.com/successissubjective. Thank you for tuning in, and remember, there is no single path through life. Success is what you make it.
Do you have a teenager or young adult who seems to have lost their way? Maybe they need help navigating adolescence, adulthood, and decisions surrounding higher education. Or maybe they have become withdrawn, their grades are slipping, or they are flat out living a reckless lifestyle, and you're concerned about their health and well-being. If this describes what your teen or young adult is facing, a therapeutic consultant may be able to help. Mental health, addiction recovery, and higher education can all be equally expensive. While information is everywhere, how do you know what option is the best one for your family? Some parents have the time to research and navigate this on their own. Some don't. If the latter applies to you, enter therapeutic consultants. Therapeutic consultants, like Joanna, listen to your family's specific needs and advocate on behalf of your loved one. TCs will research therapeutic resources, recommend treatment programs, and assist during adulthood transitions. Not being affiliated with any program, their support is completely objective and catered toward the best interest of each unique family. To find a qualified therapeutic consultant to work with, check out TCA, also known as the Therapeutic Consulting Association. Their website is therapeuticconsulting.org, all one word. Again, that's therapeuticconsulting.org. Then click the Find a Pro tab up at the top.